All right, great job. We've reached our first big section review. Let's go ahead and review the IAM section so we can move forward onto the section quiz and then on to other things in the course. First, let's review the IAM components. We have users. These are unique accounts that are used to access AWS services. Our admin user that we use for most of the demonstrations, and then also that non-priv, that was also a user as well. Groups are used for easier administration of users. Roles are used to delegate access, delegate permissions to a third party. Sometimes this can be an application or somebody from another AWS account or another organization or something like that. That's what roles are used for. And then policies are that set of permission, and we can use that. We can apply that to users or groups or roles. And remember, we usually don't want to apply that directly to users themselves, but we can do that. All right, MFA. This is used to increase security by combining a device that we have in our possession with the password that we already know. For AWS, the supported devices are the U2F key, the hardware and virtual MFA devices. Remember, for this class, we use the virtual MFA device in our example. And then there's also GovCloud hardware MFA devices specific to GovCloud. With AWS Access, we have a few ways that we can access AWS. In this class, we've been using the AWS Management Console. In our demonstration, we showed how the command line interface works. And then also, Cloud Shell, it uses the AWS Management Console account, so that way that we're using the rights from the user that was signed into the management console, but it allows us to execute commands through the CLI. And then also we have software development kits, so this way we can connect in via API and things like that. All right, we have to use IAM best practices going forward. First, we want to make sure to create individual IAM users. This is just like that admin user account that we created. We want to use the root account the least amount possible. We had to use it to create that first admin user that first time we logged in. Other than that, we won't really be using it for the course. We don't want folks using shared login credentials because it makes it very difficult from an audit perspective to find out who did what or who changed what, something like that. We need to protect access key pairs. These are just like a username and password. We know that you can gain access to AWS resources via the CLI with an access key pair. So make sure that we protect those. We want to make sure that we assign policies to groups rather than individual users. It's much easier to do so, and it's also much cleaner, so that way that whenever somebody changes a role or changes a job function, we can just put them in a new group rather than having to individually go in that user and look to see what they may be using in their new role or something like that. It's important to remove unnecessary credentials. If we're not using those credentials, go ahead and disable it. If we don't think we're going to use those credentials anymore, then it's important to delete those so they're not there anymore. Enable MFA. This is especially important on highly privileged accounts like admin and root accounts. It increases security, which is really important for those highly privileged accounts. It's important to monitor activity in AWS. This is a live account. People put production applications, people put highly sensitive data. We need to be watching to see what is happening, who has access to those applications. It's really important to keep an active monitor for all activity in AWS. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of those security and monitoring services a little bit later on in the course. We want to use the least privilege principle. This means assigning permissions that are associated with a job role or maybe an application function and providing the least amount of permissions that allows them to complete their job or complete their task. We want to make sure to use a strong password policy. We can have a password policy. We looked about how we can do that on AWS to match a password policy with our own organizational standards. Okay, to finish this up, we're just going to take a quick review of the shared responsibility model and how it pertains to IAM. So something that we as the customer would be responsible for, the group membership, which means like adding or removing people from certain groups, setting the password policy, and the protection of credentials, including access keys and username passwords, things like that. For AWS, it's their responsibility that whenever we, like, let's say we right click and we actually disable account, that account no longer has access. That's a core functionality of the IAM application itself. And so that's their responsibility. Things like MFA integration between MFA and the MFA account and being able to log in, and somebody like the Google Authenticator being able to authenticate through that. That's part of the MFA integration that is AWS responsibility. And lastly, it's AWS's responsibility to secure the underlying hardware that's supporting IAM. Obviously, all of these applications, they run on hardware, the physical servers somewhere. All of those physical servers, those are the responsibility of AWS. All right, great job. This wraps up AWS IAM review. Now let's move on to the uses of IAM.